So I just moved into a 3-bedroom, beautiful, I can call it a dream house in the UK, and I got so many questions. You want to know how much I rented it, what location. There were so many nice questions, and I've got extra tips to give you to when you want to rent a house in the UK, everything that is entailed, what I did, how I found my house, and so many more information. Okay, please just stay tuned. Remember to just press the subscribe button for free. Okay, so let's get into the video. So many questions I got was about how much I rented a house. I'm going to be telling you that along the way in the video. One of the questions I got was, did I change my children's school? Yes, I changed the children's school, definitely, because we're moving away from the town we were, so I changed my children's school. So if you want to know about changing children's school, all the detail, everything we did, that is going to be in a separate video, okay, about changing children's school in the UK. So yes, but we changed the children's school. Somebody asked the name of the city. So I live under Fife Council in Scotland. Somebody wants a video about mortgage in the UK. That's going to be a separate video, because mortgage is a very broad topic depending on what area you want to talk about. The same person asked if mortgage is part of public fund, because as a tier 2 visa holder, we are not eligible to public fund. But mortgage, I can guarantee, is not public fund. It is a loan. So you're borrowing money from a lender to buy that property, which you'll be paying back instrumentally. It is not public fund. It is not a free money. It's not free. It's not like they're giving you the money for free. So mortgage is not public fund. So sites to find house in the UK, whether you're in the UK or not, number one, you have Zoopla, Open Rent. Open Rent is a private site where private lenders post their houses. You have Your Move, you have Right Move. Right Moves are agents. You have Find a Hood, Gumtree. Gumtree usually is for private landlords. Spare Room is for if you want a shared house, shared flat, where you'll be more than 1 or 2 families or people living in the house together, and you have to share one common area, the kitchen, one place or the other, maybe even the bathroom, or you may have your own separate bathroom. You have Move Bubble, you have Room Go, and you also share apartments or flats in this kind of place. You have ID Flatmate, also you're looking for a flatmate. Room Buddies, these are when you don't have family and you want to share the house or flat with people. But the ones that are very common are Right Move, Zoopla, Your Move, and Gumtree is also very common in the UK. Do you pay all inclusive? So if you're renting a house, so I think this person is asking if I paid everything inclusive in whatever rent I'm going to be telling you. No. So if you're renting a house, most of the time, or a flat, most time, especially in Scotland that I'm very aware of, you may need to cover your own bill by yourself, like your council tax, your electricity, your gas, your internet. It may not be included in your rent. So you're going to pay the landlord what you're paying the landlord, and it is a cup of tea to cover the other aspect of the bills. But some it's possible to get all inclusive, especially if you're renting like 1 bedroom or maybe even 1 room or shared flat, shared house. Some of it used to come all inclusive, or they will tell you that you just have to pay for 1 or 2 things. But most of the time, and all the houses I've lived, apart from when I was sharing in the UK, I've had to cover the cost of other expenses myself, especially because if you have family, the landlord will not want to carry the cost of all the electricity you're going to use. All the bill is going to be too much for the landlord, because they cannot predict how much you're going to be using. How much is the deposit? Usually the landlord may ask you for either 1 month, just like let's say the rent of a place is like 1,000, for instance. The landlord may ask for another 1,000 as deposit, or they can ask for even 1.5 for if you're a worker or you've already resided in the UK for a while. But for so many people that I've seen that came into the country as a student, they've been asked to pay up to even 6 months deposit. Like, just imagine, let's say your rent is 1,000, then the landlord expects you to pay £6,000 deposit, and this deposit is saved, should be saved in a bank, in a deposit purse, where when you're living, your landlord is going to estimate what you've damaged in the house, what you've done, if you owe rent, and then they will deduct whatever is left, or whatever you're owed, whatever is left for you, they will give it to you. For instance, my house, which I just moved from, my landlord has mailed me to say my children has written on the wall and they will need to repaint the house, so that will affect the deposit that I've paid. So my money was saved with Safe Deposit Scotland. So they will get in touch with me and then we'll agree on how much will be deducted on both sides. If picture needs to be taken, picture will be sent to Safe Deposit Scotland, and then I'll get my money back. I'm not even going to argue with her. I know that my children actually wrote on the wall, and I couldn't clean it, so it is what it is. So you may expect that you're going to be paying deposits, and it varies depending on the landlord, but most of the time you may get like 1 month deposits, 1 month extra, or 1 month and a half. If you're a student, if you're not in the country, most especially, you may be required to pay more because they cannot trust that you can afford to pay your rent monthly. But when you're going, you expect to either get it back fully or partially, depend on the circumstance. Documents are required for renting a house in the UK. So for me personally, the first house I rented where we moved from, I only gave, apart from the, I've shared flats before, those ones are not relevant. Let's say when you're renting your own house, what I gave in my last house was my reference. I know I gave reference, and I think that was it, because it was a private lender. I rented it directly from a private lender. I saw that house actually on Gumtree, and it was a private lender, and we never had any problem for the years I stayed there. Just does her thing, so it wasn't too official. But this particular property was rented via agent, and the process, oh my goodness, it's as if you are trying to apply for a job. Because they asked for my pay slips, my husband's pay slip, any adult in the property, my husband's pay slip, my pay slip, our bank statement, references from both our employers and my former landlord. Because my husband actually did his first, and I just felt it's fine, they're not going to bother me. And then they said, where's my own reference? I said, my husband has given reference. They said, no, I need another reference to say, yes, I actually work with this company, and to show my salary, my pay slip, my bank statement, everything I submitted. So I submitted it to the agent. The agent will now contact the landlord. It is now the landlord that will now decide if they're happy to lend their property to you, and then we arranged a viewing. Viewed the property. Landlord now got back to the agent to say he's happy with us, he's allowing us to rent his property. Then they now connected us, gave us his contact, and then he gave us account number, and then we paid deposit. After we viewed, of course, you have to be very careful of scammer. Be careful so you're not scammed, okay? You have to make sure you search that property. Go on Google and search that property you're looking for. Look for the postcode and then search rent history. Or even if you go on Zoopla or on Rightmove, you can see all those property in that area that have been rented out or even sold. And you can even know how much your property was bought, what history the property has, and you want to check all these things because you don't want to fall a victim. If you're not allowed into the property or you've not seen a property, please do not pay. Do not pay. Especially to all those private landlords, they may scam you. So you want to make sure you see what you're going for. You're allowed into the property, and sometimes on the viewing day, you may be more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that will go and view the property. So you want to package yourself well. You want to make sure you have your deposit. You want to make sure you sell yourself well to the landlord so that they can trust you, that you can pay them, or that you can pay their rent and you're not going to be owing them, because some landlord will not give you their property if they don't trust you. And then they gave us textbook of contract. Like textbook, when I say textbook, I mean textbook is more than 30 pages of contract. What happened when things get damaged, what happened when this does that, how many weeks notice you need to give. Some will tell you 1 month notice. Like my former landlord, it was a month notice I had to give, so that they can look for someone else to take the property. Imagine if you just decide to leave like that. It takes time for them to get someone again, and that money they are going to lose that month. You may lose your deposit if you don't give them good notice. So you want to check your contract very, very well. Please read your contract. Read it very well. Read what will happen when you damage something. In fact, this is my property. My landlord actually came with briefcase. You know this briefcase? He came with briefcase that contained all the document, inventory of everything in the property and the contract. Told us we have to sign the day we moved in, because where we came from was very far. He came there. I need to sign with my husband. The three of us signed together before he even issued the key. before he even gave us the key. So it is a binding contract. You need to read it very well and be careful. Don't be in a haste. I know you may be desperate, like you want to move in, you want to move and you just sign, but please check. Okay, in the question someone was saying how much is your apartment, when someone was saying how much is your flat. So there are different names and different accommodation in the UK, and everything is different. It's not the same. So I'm going to be giving you the list of some of the type of houses to expect in the UK, and that will also be determined by what you want, the type of property you want, your family, the number of your family, your own preference actually. So we have various type of house in the UK. We have bungalows, we have apartments. Apartments are like very long, big, joined together kind of house. A lot of houses, you see them mostly in cities like London, in Edinburgh, city centers where space is not readily available. So you see those type of houses. So then we have cottage, we have terrace. So a terrace, like where I am currently, is a terrace. A terrace is maybe houses that are joined together either by one or two other houses. For instance, you may be in the center, maybe mid terrace, end terrace. You see things like end terrace, mid terrace. End terrace means you're only attached by one other house and you have the other side opened. If you're mid terrace, that means you're in between. You may have 2 or 3 other houses beside you. So you have terrace. Terrace are houses, but they're in a line. You can have up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even up to 6 houses joined together, but it is not a flat. It is not on top of each other. So then most of those houses you have up and down. That's how to know UK houses. Most houses you see, if they have up and down, you know that is a house. If it's a flat, of course it is somebody else that will be on top of you, and you will not link at all. You will not even be linked. You have your own different entrance. Okay. But a house, you also have your own different entrance, but there's no other person on top of you. It is still you who is going to have the up and down, but you may have someone beside you on either the right, the left, or both sides. Okay, does it make sense? Those are houses. Townhouses, we have single family house, we have duplex, we have farmhouse, we have semi-detached house. So semi-detached house is only attached to only one person. Okay, so you're going to be attached to just one house beside you, and then you have the mansion, you have studio apartment, and your family size or your preference will also be a factor to consider when you're renting this type of house. For instance, if you have young children, like I made that mistake when I rented my first flat. We were on the middle floor, maybe the second floor, and then my children, I have 2 boys and a girl. They were stamping, they were running, they were screaming. Although my neighbor at that time, they were kind enough. They never came to knock our door to say we are making noise, but you have them coming to knock to say, please, can you keep it down? So if you have children, you want to consider not staying on the top or second or fourth flat. Does it make sense? Even if you're going to stay in a flat, you want to stay on the ground floor. Flats are usually cheaper than houses. Something to note, it depends on your budget, depend on your financial status as well. Flat may be your first option, especially if you're single or your children are still very young. They cannot be running and be disturbing their neighbors. You can decide to take a flat, maybe even the 4th flat, 2nd flat, 3rd flat, because UK houses are not so, I don't know how to say it, like in Dubai, you can be on the number 50th floor and you will not even remember that you are on top of someone, because it's so concrete that you cannot hear any noise from your neighbor. You cannot hear a single neighbor. In the UK, the person upstairs, you are going to hear. Even this house now, if my children are upstairs or downstairs, I hear everything, all the noise, all the stamping. So you want to make sure you consider all these things also when you're renting. You want to know, do you want a garden? Let's go to things to look out for when you're trying to rent. The first thing do you want furnished or unfurnished? When I first came into the country, I wanted furnished, and the thing with furnished is you're not able to customize the house the way you want it. So when I was living in my former house, I just left everything, even the things I bought, all my furniture, I left everything because they were all join, buy this, buy that, get this, get that, somewhere there in the house already. So I wanted to start afresh, so you can have your own aesthetic in the house. If you want your own aesthetic in the house and you have the means, you don't want furnished, okay? But if you want to start, when you're just starting, you want some that is furnished, and it also can affect the cost of what you're going to be paying on rent, but some does not affect the cost, okay? So you want to check is, I always say double glazing, central heating. Because of cold, you want to make sure the house you're getting, especially if it's a long term and you have young children, young family, you want it to be double glazing and central heating for winter. Okay, are pet allowed? Some landlord will tell you no pet is allowed, and if you're a pet lover, that's going to be a big problem. Do you want garden? Like, that was one of my most requirements coming to this place. I'm like, if there's no garden, it's not worth it. It has to have a garden, both front and back. So some will have front garden and no back garden. Actually, if you're in a flat, you may not have a garden. Okay, that is one thing you want to make sure you consider. You want to know the distance from your workplace, especially if you already know where you're going to be working, to the house you're going to be getting, because public transportation in this country is not your mates. I'm telling you, except you're going to be driving, you want to use the Google map. It is very easy. Put the postcode of where you're working and the postcode of the house you found and check the distance. You want to check some. It can be 10 minutes drive, but 2 hours by bus. How many buses are you going to be hopping off and hopping on in winter? So you want to check those things. You want to know the availability of the house. Like, you want to come into the UK or you want to move in December and the house is not available until next year, March or February. You know, it's not for you. You have to skip it. Or if it's just about the time you're about to move, check the availability of that house. It's going to be listed there. They will tell you available so time, available so date. You want to check, is there parking space if you're going to have a car? Are you going to be parking on street parking or off street parking? Is there a garage? Is there a space where you can park your car? Yeah, I got the question why I chose where I am presently. I chose it, number one, I made my research a lot. The first thing was the proximity to my job. Another thing was the proximity to the school I wanted for my children. That school is like die for. I wanted that school with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my spirit, because I researched about that school, and that was one of the reasons why I chose this place that I chose. And then you want to check how secure that area is. When you go to Scotland, when you go to Police Scotland, or maybe in England it will be Police England, whatever security, you'll be able to search how safe the area you're going is. But if you're not close to that area, you may not know until you're there. Okay, some will even be carrying rumor and say that area is bad, that area is bad. It may not be as bad, but that was one of the things I consider. The proximity to shops, to shopping malls. I can't be living, I was living in a town. I don't want to leave my small town to another small town where I will not have access to anything. I wanted to know how close the house is to the shop, close to the church I want to attend. I was very, very intentional about this property, mainly because I'm moving at my convenience anyway. It's not like I'm in a rush or I was sent out, I have to move. So I was moving because it was very convenient. Okay, to the juicy part. I know this is the part you're really interested in. You're not interested in everything I've said. This is the part that means a lot to you. How much did I rent this beautiful 3-bedroom house? Like, beautiful 3-bedroom house. If you've not seen the house tour, please go and check the house tour out, because I showed everything. That, in fact, I'm sure that video, the camera did not do enough justice, because the house in person is beautiful. So how much did I pay? I paid I don't know if it's just, because I think it's cheaper. I told you what I was paying in my former place. It was $720. That's what I was paying. But this property is actually cheaper. We are paying £660 per month. You see, it is cheaper. It is beautiful. It is comfortable. It is convenient. It's everything. So that is how much the rent is. The rent is $660 every month, and I paid a deposit of $660. Okay, so that is it for this video. I hope I've answered all your questions. If I have not, please just drop it in the comment section, and please remember to just join the family by helping my channel to grow. Just subscribe and press the subscribe button, like, comment, share, to help someone that is coming to the UK. I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, please watch more videos and stay tuned. Don't be a stranger to this family. Join the family. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in another video. Please stay tuned for all the juicy updates. Okay, see you. I'll see you later. Bye.